glad to see that Adeniyi Ifetayo, a media analyst, is on the line to join us this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Adeniyi Ifetayo.
Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here virtually.
Thank you. All right, just before you came in, we're talking about the conversation around the presidential jets. Let's start off with that conversation. And they've come out to say there was no approval by the National Assembly before the procurement of this new presidential jet. Recall that they had been talking about how the presidential jets were faulty and how they spent billions of naira to repair it, and there was a need for a purchase of another one. And according to reports, in late June, the federal government purchased an Airbus A330 aircraft from a German bank. Now, National Assembly is saying there was no approval. So how do we get conversations like this? I thought funds like this are supposed to go through a channel. Let's get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, normally it's supposed to be appropriated. It's supposed to be in the budget for any expenditure to be made. But it's just surprising that so much impunity we've witnessed when it comes to our common resources, that people can just wake up and just dip their hand into the treasury. I'm sure this is high time, whether both the National Assembly, who are serving as an independent or tiers of government, that they need to be asking questions. Where did they get the money from? Was it a loan? Was it approved by the National Assembly? Was it the recovered loot? Even if it's that, is that what it's meant for? So those are the questions that need to be asked. I'm sure we should get more clarity, because selling a jet now, buying a jet is not $1 million, it's not $2 million. We are talking about multi-million dollars. So it's not a small money we are talking about now. So I think if truly the legislators, they are truly independent of executive, I think it is high time the sanction or they call whoever that is in charge or who signed off such funds, Minister of Finance, the minister in charge of the budget, Accountant General. Those are the people that should be called, to come and explain, because those funds cannot just be released, or they can't just, you can't use AI to move money from anybody's bank account. Somebody must sign off such huge amount of money and should be called to book.
Right. Talking about someone being questioned, we don't seem to have such a great history in terms of people being held accountable. Most times we hear things happen like this and nobody is held accountable, no form of major questioning. Over a while, we just see that conversation has ended. How exactly do you think this particular one will take a different turn? Because it's a big slap on our face if, as a country, our National Assembly is saying one thing, meanwhile another thing is taking place. How exactly do you think this particular conversation around the purchase of a new presidential jet will go differently in terms of holding somebody accountable?
Yeah, I think Mr. President, if he wants to show that he's a true leader, that I believe he is, it is this particular incident that I should make a bold statement about it. And you will recall that you and I, when a former minister of humanitarian, a kind of whether he made mistake to transfer some money to a personal account, and he was fired or he was recalled or suspended. So it shows that a true leader who knows what he's doing. And if he wants Nigeria to queue behind him, going forward, I think he needs to take a firm decision on this. Whoever that is found culpable should be punished or asked to answer questions. So going forward, we lead by example so that the Nigerians or the people that you are governed can take you seriously. So this is high time that Mr. President should show that he's really, truly in charge. Because such funds, I don't want to say, or I don't want to make a statement that you can't release such funds to a foreign partner without the acknowledgement of the presidency. Because I know one individual in this country that wanted to build a gigantic stuff, and the presidency was calling. That's an individual, a private person. That, do you know so person is trying to purchase this? Because we look at that fund, that this fund cannot be owned by an individual. So such funds is not, like I said, is not 1 million naira or 200 million naira. We are talking about billions of naira here. So Mr. President should stand firm, and whoever that is found culpable should face the book or the wrath of law.
All right, still in relation to the presidential jet, what's your thought on Amosun's recent statement? What do you feel? He said he mistakenly signed a deal to dubious Chinese firm. What's your thought on this?
You know, I've said in this forum several times that most of our executive, when they have a special advisor on this, special advisor on that, they don't take the advice. In fact, they are the one giving their special advisor advice. And a tree cannot make a forest. They are there to guide you. But when you are making your appointment based on sentiment, based on family relation, based on to settle or to create political structure, not that based on competence, what is it bringing on board? These are the kind of things that we find ourselves. Because I'm sure there's a minister in charge of transportation, or there's commissioner rather in charge of trade. There's a commissioner in charge of whatever foreign relations who could have looked at those documents, study it or get interpreter. Or even in this day, if you get a document, whether it's written in French or in Chinese, you have a software that can transcribe or that can, translate it to English or to your mother tongue, as it were. So those are the things that should be called to question. Why are you a leader? You are signing something that you did not read. I know a man that, in this one, very old man, whether before he will put his hand to a pen, he will read everything. It's going to take him 1 week. And we are not talking about 20,000 naira or your personal money here, that you have freedom to spend anyhow you like. But this is a government resources that it's just pity. It just shows the kind of leader that we have. Of course, most of our elections are money due. So whoever has the big cash may sometimes wins the election.
All right, thank you. Let's move your thoughts. Let's move to another conversation here. This one has to do with fake degrees. It's from the Punch newspaper. The federal government has ordered varsities to submit matriculation lists. Now, so let's do a bit of brainstorming here. How is it even possible? Because recently, the National Youth Service Corps has delisted certain graduates from their orientation camp due to fake degrees. How is it possible that someone, is it from JAM, is it from the school, that someone would seek admission in a particular university, spend 4 years to 9 years, get a degree, and eventually it will be discovered after he or she has graduated? How is it even possible?
You know, about 3 days ago, I was listening to how they even come about the cut-off mark. It was just so funny that some of these provosts, now education has come to be a competition. It has come to be about how can I get the most money, from a student or whoever who's seeking an admission. And there are sometimes they talk about the awaiting result, and the person will be admitted while he or she is still awaiting his or her result. And at the end of the day, maybe it's in 100 level and there's a paper that is maybe had F9, he needed to go and write again, waiting, and because they just feel that if I settle some lecturer or few lecturer in court, I could have my way. I had experience of someone who was in this Lagos state, who was in 300 level. I don't want to mention school, and she cannot construct a proper statement. I was wondering, how did she go to that level, 300 level? So I think going forward, what they should do, yes, we want to admit awaiting result, as long as you get your complete result before you finish 100 level. If you don't get your result, you need to step aside, you need to go and do it, then you will come back and continue from where you stop. It's done abroad, it's done in Western world, but it's just that they will say, let me just push it and we need more money. For example, I was talking about the cutoff mark, and some provosts, some VC, they said cutoff mark this year should be 150. Polytechnic, they are saying 100. College of Education 90. And the registrar of JAM was like, it's you people that are saying 40 or 90 and you want the same degree that's been awarded in Polytechnic to be compared with the university. So I was like, see, if out of 400, you are saying admissible cutoff mark should be 90, should be 140. Come on, that's where we have made education we are making to be so low that anybody can just, once you have the enough resources, you can just get into any higher institution that you want.
Right.
And now, I'd like to move your attention to this particular story from the Punch newspaper, which says food crisis may worsen as flood hits 10 states. That's Sokoto, Kebbi, and 7 others. Farmers are groaning that this flood might ravage their farmland. I mean, last week also, we got the report that over 3 million people will be affected by this flood. So my question is, every year, at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of the rainy season, the National Emergency Management Agency, they issue out warning alerts to different states. They tell us all the states, all the communities that may be affected by this flood. And it almost seems as if we do nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing to prevent these things. How did we get here, and what can we do? What remedy? Does this fall on the table of the federal government or the state governors?
Yeah, it's both. They have a role to play. When we are talking about food crisis all over the nation, it's not just about whether you are in Ogun State or you are in Edo State or whatever. It affects, it cut across. So it's just on a lack, on our leadership, lack of being proactive. Like they said, if you fail to plan, you have already planned to fail. So it's just the same thing. It boils down that they issue you an alert or a warning and you are not being proactive, and it happens. It's just a pity that it happens year in, year out. Is alarming. And when the things start to happen and there's an increase in the commodity, food condiment and all of that, and they begin to trade blame. So it's just a pity that something has been said, this thing is going to happen. For a sensitive leaders, what should we do? Who should you talk to? How can we avoid it? What are the other technology that can be put in place so that we make sure, even if eventually happen, the impact is minimized. But it's just that until we find ourselves in a situation that flood, ravage the farmland, and we begin to say there will be increase in commodity, and we now begin to depend on import and etc., etc. And who knows, maybe some of them, they might just be sabotaging the economy. Maybe they have a farmland overseas there. They have means of bringing, import goods in, so they don't want the system to work within. Who knows? But I'm just saying, but if it's a leader that knows the way, she goes the way and shows the way. So they should be proactive. That's one of the things that I can see here that they should do as a leader, as a chief executive, whether from federal or the state level.
All right, thank you for that. Let's quickly move on to another one. This is from the Vanguard newspaper. Sarah to Akpabio and Abbas disclose monthly running costs of the National Assembly. I remember I watched an interview, I think yesterday or day before yesterday, former National Assembly member, that's Senator Elisha Abu, talking about how much he was earning, I think to the tune of he said that his monthly salary, basic salary, is 1 million. But other allowances, hardship allowances, run into about 21 million or thereabout. And he even said that that amount was not even enough considering the running cost of his office. But my question now is, why is there so much dust being raised about this? A lot of people have pointed fingers that while senators are disclosing how much they earn, the Senate President, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, have not really disclosed theirs. And there's a lot of talk about this. Let's get your thoughts on it.
Yeah, because, let me just say, because they have something to hide. Because if it is a public office and everything you do is from the public resources, that's where you are being paid. I'm not sure that there should be a hide and seek game here, but because there are so much to be desired and seen or met. And that's why all these hide and seek game have been on. You and I know that it's not today we've been saying declare your salary, what you earn. Someone will say I'm earning this, another one will say I'm earning this. But I think the National Assembly Commission should be held responsible. And this also boils down to the freedom of information, that we can approach and say, give us the salary structure of every legislator, whether you are House principal officer or just a normal member of the House of Assembly. Let's know how much they earn, so that we know how much it's costing us to fund this legislature. And not only that, even all other, whether elected or appointed government official, should the same thing should be, issued to them. We want to know. Nigeria needs to know. They have the right to know. You understand. But when you are doing everything in secrecy, I'm sure one day they said the air will blow and we see the anus of chicken or whatever it is. So let's ask question more, especially I think federal allocation that has to do with the structure or allowances of National Assembly, especially National Assembly Commission. They should be asked question more. We want to know how much you are dishing out, how much these people are being paid, because Nigeria have the right to know, because most of us are taxpayers.
Which brings me to my next question. I know the RMAFC said that the take home is 1 million naira, but it seems as if there's more to that 1 million naira. I mean, the constituency allowance. Why can't we get that total breakdown from the RMFC? The total breakdown: constituency project, hardship allowance, entertainment, clothing, housing. Can we get a breakdown? Is it that hard for them to just publish this breakdown for Nigerians to see?
No, it's not that hard. I'm sure some of them, don't let me, so that I will not be misquoted. A few of them, when you benefit from a system, you tend to do a kind of cover-up. If there's no cover-up, it's not a rocket science to show this is how much a senator or a House of Rep member takes home. The total emolument, whether hardship allowance, whether oversight allowance, whether this or that. So, but when you feed fat in a system as well, you allow corruption to go unchecked. I'm sure there's EFCC need to look into this at least. And that's the reason why they are also being established. They are agency when you see that the economy of a nation might be submerged or might be sabotaged. They should come into place that we want to have the record. We want to publish it. In fact, there should be a law that should be enacted to know that how much a senator or an House of Rep collect every month, so that you that are from that constituency, you will know what and what your senator and what that he is doing or what is meant for. So if he's not doing it, then you can ask them questions. Sometimes something we directed to state executive or federal government, they can be answered by these people that represent, that's a senator or National Assembly member who represent each geopolitical zone or senatorial district rather, or constituency.
All right, I think this is a safe place to land. It's always a pleasure to have you share your thoughts with us.
Oh, thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
You're welcome.